And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess. We have crusty old guy over here. Once again, folks, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. How you feeling, Krusty?
I feel good.
What's the shirt you got on?
We're sporting a little Rockford.
I didn't know. Oh, wait, that's one of the giveaway shirts. I was like, I didn't know that you had Rockford.
Yes, this is a hockey team that gives away shirts.
Yeah.
Not like other hockey teams.
Oh, Rockford's very good at doing giveaways. We love all the promo stuff that Rockford does throughout the season. Krusty, it's been 2 days now since hockey has ended.
I know. It's sad. What are we supposed to do?
I know.
I don't know what to do. People are telling me I should watch the World Cup. Sorry, can't do it.
No. And that's not anything against the World Cup. It's just when hockey season ends, my brain immediately goes into motorsports, as we've talked about many a time. So that's already where my mind is and has been for a little bit because that season starts in March. But we got to wrap up our thoughts on the finals because it happened. The Carolina Hurricanes are your 2026 Stanley Cup champions. Thank goodness. I need everyone to know that my draft bracket was wrong in so many ways in the West. But in the East, and for the winner, I was right. I believe my final matchup was the Dallas Stars versus the Carolina Hurricanes, just a battle of Finland, a Mikko Rantanen revenge that ended up with Carolina winning. I was very wrong in the West, but I was right in the East. Krusty, what are your thoughts on kind of the end of this postseason?
There's always talk during the dynasty years. There was always talk of, I think Hitchcock is the one who came up with it, who said, like the Hawks, they just take your will.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it was. It's just all of a sudden, Vegas got lucky a little bit. And then Carolina just said enough's enough, and they just suffocated them, and it just became too much. And they had to be so precise in their shots that, instead of going in, it was going off post, at least for Eichel. So Carolina definitely the better team. There's only a few teams in the league that have their team, they play the exact same way. First line, fourth line. Everybody plays the same way. Everybody's got certain spots they have to be on. That does not happen a lot. And Carolina, after years and years, found out that, yes, they can win a cup with it. Maybe they would have won it earlier had not Florida been Florida. So,
yeah,
I felt great for Rod. I felt great for Aho. I believe Sebastian Aho has taken a lot of crap throughout the years of not being good enough and not being that superstar, which you are never going to get on Carolina for the simple fact is their D-men pinch early and often. And you as a forward better be getting back. You're not thinking offense. You're thinking of getting back, and that's what all of them do real well. They were a pleasure to watch. You had a great story with the bus who came in.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, everybody says Vegas ran out of gas, and I think it's just Carolina made them look like they ran out of gas. And that's just kind of the way it is. Goaltending was not great on either side in this series, that's for sure. But when the bus came in, the saves that needed to be made, he made them. And the guy on the other end did not. it's hard that you see a team like this. You see all the stats coming out. There's nobody on that team in the top 20 in goals or points. Usually cup teams have, some offensive weapons that are in the top 20 in the league,
Right.
not the Carolina Hurricanes. So, I thought it was a phenomenal series. Um, the last couple games there was a little bit more of a lockdown mode, but Carolina for the most part they just even getting up they didn't care. The foot was always on the gas. They were always attacking. Um, and that's what the other thing is obviously they were right about Natius. I hate to be kicking him when he's still down, but they had made that decision well before the trade that they didn't think he was part of it. There's a certain way you have to play. And I don't think Rantanen was going to play that way either. So they just moved, and well, Stank can play that way. That's a power pack team with everybody signed, but you have to play a certain way there, at least for now. So congrats to them. Congrats to Jordan Stahl. Congrats to Freddie Anderson. And Slavin, being only the second American to win gold and a cup. And I don't think there's a ton of Canadians either. I'm sure it's under 20. So that was
Johnny.
my huh?
Johnny.
Yes, Johnny won it in 10
Yeah.
along with Duncan and Seabrook, but I don't think there's many of them
Yeah.
that won gold that year, and then especially with them not playing for that
For
much,
so
it just
long. Yeah.
it just doesn't happen. So I don't know what else to really go over. Um, I give extra props to Freddie Anderson. People I
100%.
talk to is the goaltending was subpar. Freddie was a 911 save percentage, giving up 1.7 goals a game before the finals. Freddie was not the problem. Okay, it got a little rough for him in the finals, but trust me, he was the Conn Smythe favorite going into the finals. So I was really glad for Freddie. They have bit players that play as bit players. Gostisbehere, Walker on defense. Everybody does what they're supposed to do, and they work for it. They play really fast, and it's either that chip out or you're at the wall to take that stretch pass, and you're going to get hammered. And everybody's got to do it, from the top player to the bottom player. And that's a lesson for your young Blackhawks. But I thought the finals was great. Your take?
Speaking of that, that was one thing I was going to bring up because I do agree that different players on Carolina have been getting flack throughout the year. Aho being one of the main ones, that he's not the superstar, but I don't think that Carolina has a quote unquote superstar, and that's not to be interpreted that the Carolina Hurricanes are not talented on an individual level, because they've just won the cup. Everyone on that roster is incredibly talented. But I think the difference is you don't have a quote unquote superstar. You have an entire team of very great hockey players that all bought in. I think the Carolina Hurricanes are just a prime example of just collectively buying into the vision and executing it greatly. I also wanted to know your thought on did you see the brick story with the trainers?
The brick story. I did not.
Oh, you are going to love this or hate this. Nothing in between. So Rod had just like a brick, not like a house brick, but it's like one of those concrete bricks that have like the holes. Like, I don't know what they're
Okay.
called.
Yeah. It's a
It-
house brick, probably.
it's
Yeah.
32 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
which is the
Pretty
weight.
heavy,
It's
yes.
the weight of the cup. And
Oh.
so post training, post game, post whatever, everybody had to do shifts lifting it essentially after everything. That was a part of training, that was a part of post game, that was a part of everything. You had to lift the brick that weighed as much as the cup did.
Did Rod tell them
No.
that it weighed as much
Not,
as the cup?
not until later.
He just made them lift the brick.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, it's about. Oh, we got some barking. It's about a buy-in.
Yeah. And I think
So-
the Carolina Hurricanes are just a prime example of that. And I think they have been, because even though they've been unlucky the past couple of years, you still see that buy-in in the regular season and in the postseason. I think the last couple of years they've just had pieces missing that were unable to get them over the hump of the Eastern Conference Finals. But the buy-in was always there, and it started with Rod. I think, well, it is Rod, but I just think it's a prime example of what getting everybody on the same page. Like you said, everybody from the top down plays the same game. They have very specific roles and they play it consistently. And I think that's what got them Canes in 6.
Yeah, most definitely. I don't know how much bad luck they had. They had a Florida team in front of them, but again, as Rod
Right.
pointed out and you pointed out, they weren't completely healthy going up against them.
Yeah.
And so, you've got to tweak things a little bit. And the tweaks they made was number one, Keandre Miller,
Absolutely.
who is a prime example of what to show people what a number 2, number 3 defenseman is. In games, they are going to make mistakes. They're all playing at least well over 20 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Keandre Miller was a prime example. He had some bozo no-nos, but for the most part was a perfect fit for them. But every defenseman is going to struggle. It's just that hard of a position. We've talked about this with Seth.
Yeah.
Where everybody's like well, yeah, I don't
You're
care
going to
who it
point the
is.
finger at the guy who's on the ice the most.
Yes. I mean, even Dunk occasionally got a finger pointed.
Right.
Makar gets a finger point. It's just you're out there so much against everybody's top talent. But he was a complete difference maker. And the Eller signing,
Yeah.
they got a big free agent with some wheels who completely also was hungry for a cup.
Did you see Ehlers' message to the Winnipeg Jets fan base while he was on the ice?
I heard it a little bit. If you could repeat it.
It was, I don't have it verbatim, but it was very, he thinks of them fondly. He was like, I have nothing but respect for that organization, the fan base. That was the goal, was to bring the cup there. That was the dream. This team drafted me, took me in, that was the dream, was to bring it back there. I have nothing but fond memories of Winnipeg and the organization and playing with all of those guys. And essentially, but I had to chase this.
Well, yeah, and that again, it tells you what kind of a special place it is to play in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Because you didn't hear Keandre Miller talking about the Rangers. You don't hear you don't hear that. But
this is 2 years in a row where Winnipeg has brought up, because they asked Maurice the same situation about the Jets when the Panthers won.
Yeah. I mean, it's a special hockey city. It was a special team that just it just didn't happen. And at the end of the day, sometimes, even after watching Eichel ring off a couple more off the crossbar, you're like, it's probably just not their year. That stuff happens. It's a game of inches. There was.
You saw that with Montreal too this year. Like, the Eastern Conference Finals could have been easily either. And it was not a knock against the Canadians for getting knocked out of the Eastern Conference Finals. It's just this was not the year for them. But it's nothing against how well they performed.
Right. And again, you'll have teams, do they want to play like Carolina? You can go back to the Cup years. All three of those teams played differently.
Oh, yeah.
There was no one way. I mean, the difference between the 2010 team and the 2015 team was incredible between offensive and defensive. So, I mean, nobody's going to change, but you have to make adjustments.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if Montreal was to look back, their adjustment would have been, they probably next year will not chase them all over the ice like they did.
Yeah.
You do what Vegas did, you pack it in a little more. You keep them to the outside and you conserve your energy against what is probably the most physically fit team in the league. And
that's including their head coach, as the entire world of the NHL found out on Sunday.
Well, yes, Rod still right now, his workouts are pretty
Rod
legendary.
can get on the ice now.
Yeah. So, the only other thing I was thinking of is, while watching the Canes was the Hawks, and when does this stuff start to happen? And I thought of one player, and that was NASCAR, where I'm like, he'd be a perfect fit for that group. But I even watched him in the last half of last year, just dogging it at different areas of the ice. And I'm like, hopefully he was watching that, because that's how you've got to play.
Well, like we said, it's about a buy-in. So hopefully Bash and Pop was watching that too, on how to establish a buy-in for this core young group, because it's not just the kids that need to have the buy-in, it's the coaching staff as well. One other thing that I wanted to bring, you talked a little bit about goaltending. We love the Bussy. My goodness. I think he's not the piece that Carolina was missing, because obviously, like we said, Ehlers, Keandre coming in, but I feel like goaltending with Freddie's injuries the past couple of years, and Carolina not having a second that they could actually rely on, has definitely harmed them. Because you look in past years, even before this year, like it was Freddie and Kuchekov. You had Freddie, and even before Freddie, you had Ronta there for the longest time. Their number one had the ability to stand on their head, but they were out half the time, and they didn't have a second that they could actually rely on, like fully confidently. And I think, granted, this is year number one with the bus train. But I think this could definitely be a huge thing for Carolina, now having an actual secondary goaltender. And who knows what happens next year, because Freddie Anderson is a UFA as of now, or as of July 1. And you wonder, is this it? Do you leave on a high note? And if that is the case, what's going to be the tandem between Bussy and Kuchekov come next year? Because if Freddie does go, that's kind of who we're left with in Carolina, which is still a great tandem. But I think this has worked well for Carolina this year, is just the ability to have another goaltender that you're kind of not like, oh, shoot, Freddie's down. What are we going to do? Bussy proved that, he could hold his own.
Well, I mean, with that, I forget the GM's name, but kudos
Tulsky,
to him.
Remember when Tulsky interviewed in Chicago and nobody wanted him?
Yeah. Oops.
Gosh darn it. We were.
I think I was one of those guys.
You were one of those guys. I wanted Tulsky.
And yeah, everything I've heard about him is he's a unbelievably smart man. And I'm not talking hockey smarts, just...
No, he's a genius.
Yes. But obviously, they saw something in the bus and decided to go 3 goaltenders all year.
Yeah.
Now, granted, some people got hurt, so they didn't carry 3 at all times, but they did throughout the year carry 3 goaltenders for fear that somebody else would pick them up if they sent them down. Somehow you're evaluating your talent pretty well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's him, if that's your scouting department, a combination. But
If
yeah,
that's just sheer
that was
luck of injury, because
but
it
that
seemed like Freddie would go out, Freddie would come back. Kuchekov is out because Kuchekov was out for a hot minute with, I think, some sort of lower body injury. And then the Bussy just appeared.
yeah, and from what I've heard now is Freddie messed up the knee in game 2. Played with it in game 3 and
The,
then
the
got
amount
the
that
yank.
man has had to play through,
Yeah.
like,
And
my
then
goodness.
what I heard was he had to get the knee drained, and that's why he couldn't even suit up the next game. And the Bussy, it worked out really well because they're just number one, they're different handed,
Yeah,
but also they play a completely different style.
absolutely.
I mean, Freddie's a precision goaltender, where the Bus is much more aggressive, and I think that threw
Carolina.
Vegas off also, and you don't have a lot of time to then video and
Right.
and I'm sure their video was like get him moving side to side, which they tried to do, but then Carolina took off the passing lane.
Yeah.
So that was that. Sorry, my Ruchu was chiming in.
No, I know, I can hear. Do you have any other thoughts? I don't want to stick on the finals for too long, but do you have any wrap up thoughts?
I do not. If you don't want to stick on it for too long, no, I think I can be. Yeah, I can be done.
Okay.
But go Canes. I'm glad for them.
Yeah. Go Freddie Anderson. Go Seth Jarvis. We have 2 trades already, even though hockey season ended 2 days ago. Both came out today. One was a little bit of a head scratcher. We've got a trade between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Philly trades goaltender Samuel Ersson, Emil Andre, who's a defenseman, and a 2026 third-round pick, and to Toronto, and then in exchange is getting Joseph Wall and Simone Benoit. I'm a little confused on this one, but that just might be the Chaika of it all.
As far as the Philly trade you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the word's already come out as far as Erickson and stuff like that. They don't even know if they're going to sign him. He's an RFA. It's unsure if they're going to tender him even an offer.
I'm confused.
Yeah, so I think they wanted to give Will a new start, and this was a way to do it.
Sure. I mean, this is good for Philly, I think, because Vader proved at the end of last season and in the postseason that the guy's good. And so, I think you're leveling up your other goaltender that you have on the roster for Philly. And I'm a firm believer that you can never have too many defensemen. So I think this is good for Philly. For Toronto, I'm a little confused, but I don't think that this will be the only noise that we hear from Toronto between now and by the time Gavin McKenna gets drafted. Nothing crazy in the sense, like obviously Toronto is still drafting Gavin McKenna, but I don't think that this is the only thing that we see from them or hear from them in terms of moving pieces and different rumor speculations.
No, I don't think. No, they've got a lot of work. The only thing I could say about Toronto,
Yeah,
is they're not getting rid of people. This is a retool. I'm sure Matthews is on board. Everybody's staying.
yeah.
They're going to find out a way to retool this. They want to move Morgan Riley maybe and free up some space, but that's not a market that you can just go, we're going to tank.
Right.
Especially with getting the number one pick. We've seen how that's worked out here. That's a tall ask for a young kid to have to
Right.
play with hot garbage for a while. So, but yeah, the craziness of everything between coaching and woof,
Yeah, it's a
because
little
Toronto still hasn't named a coach, right? But
yeah, it's a little bit of a head scratcher. And then secondary trade is between Nashville and Colorado. Colorado trades Ross Colton and Isaac Posh, who's a goaltender, to Nashville. Nashville trades a 2026 third round, a 2027 third round, and Magnus Krona. Just as a reminder, folks, Magnus Krona has also signed a contract for a 1-year contract, I believe, in back in Sweden. I believe it's with the SHL. So he is still going to be in Sweden. Who know? I doubt that will change. So we shall see. But to my understanding, this is more of a cap move with Colorado parting from Ross Colton, more than really trying to move him because he's not gelling.
yeah, and Colton's one of those bottom 6 players that every team needs.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they've got some cap issues. So there's going to be a lot of more moving around stuff. Everybody needs to figure out how to get better without a lot of money, even with the cap going up. So it's only going to get a lot more feverish between now and draft day. So
Absolutely. Speaking of draft, but not the NHL draft, because we're getting to that in a little bit.
Segue that.
We've got the PW draft. This episode will come out after the PW draft, so I did not want to do a rush recording after the draft. So we will be talking about the PW draft results next episode, next week, just because I wanted a little bit of time to actually research and see how everything falls post-draft, then bringing you a rushed research job. But we do have the PW expansion results. Things are crazy, and we can all agree on one thing. The PWHL hates the New York Sirens. But with our expansions, these are not all of the players that are on new teams, but I just wanted to list a couple of notable ones for each of the new teams. So Vegas, you've got Mae Batherson, Haley Skimura, Erin Ambrose, Nicole Hensley. Hamilton, you've got Kale Osborne, Nicole Gosling, Alina Mueller, Breon Jenner. Detroit, you've got Kayla Barnes, Hannah Bilka, Jessie Comfer, who is the sister of the Dead Wings Comfer. So for the first time ever, you will have siblings playing professional hockey in the same city, which is very cool. And no one is more excited about this than Krusty. And that is your Captain America going to Detroit, and I will get to it in a moment, why this makes Krusty very, very happy. But then you've got San Jose with Mariah Keppel, Corinne Schroeder, Kristen O'Neill, and Rory Gilday. Now, Krusty, do you want to know why you're very excited that Captain America is in Detroit?
Because that means Abby Murphy won't be going there?
Because Detroit and Vegas made a switch trade. Detroit acquires Hillary Knight for the number 3 pick in the draft, which will then be Vegas's. So Vegas has number 3 and number 5, at least for the first round. This is the draft order, and it will continue for all of the rounds. The only difference will be Detroit will pop in after the first round because they've traded their first. You've got Vancouver, Seattle, Detroit, San Jose, Las Vegas, Hamilton, New York, Toronto, Boston, Minnesota, Ottawa, and Montreal. Some of this makes sense. Obviously the ones that are in playoff contention are going to be at the bottom, and ones that were, winning the gold plan, like your Vancouver and your Seattle, are at the top. The biggest head scratcher that a lot of people have are, how did all the expansion teams get to jump the Toronto Scepters and the New York Sirens, who did not make the playoffs? And the New York Sirens are actually the only team from the original group that have never made the playoffs, but the expansion teams gets to jump all of them. and also how was the ordering of the expansion teams actually decided. We will not know this. Guys, this draft order just came out yesterday, which is just a couple of days before the draft. So it's absolutely wild. But yeah, it's a puzzling one. To my friends that are New York Sirens fans, I hear you. This has got to be incredibly frustrating. They're down to only 9 players on their rosters because of the expansion drafts, and then they get snubbed with not being able to take the number 3 pick. Bonkers. Absolute bonkers. But with Vegas taking the number 3 pick, it is down to between Seattle and Vegas for Abby Murphy, Krusty.
I could go for Vegas.
I know.
I could go for Vegas. I could get a Vegas Abby Murphy jersey.
Yeah.
So, well, that's good to know. I was very frightened when you first told me, there's a possibility she would be going to Detroit, and it made me sad. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And it also made sense. She's a Midwest girl, and there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on in that league, and some of it is they're still in the growing of the game, and every place needs drawing power.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of questionable things. The T word has been thrown around a lot with the expansion process.
The T word?
Trades, tampering.
Who's tampering though?
Detroit, Vegas, a lot of.
I mean, you've got owners and the league trying to manipulate things. I wouldn't call it actually tampering, but if this is a completely established league, Hillary Knight does not move around this much.
No.
That's what I'm saying is, I mean, Captain America's a draw. So to have her going other places to draw it makes sense for the league right now. You've got to get through that first punch and keep everybody engaged, and then let the game do the rest of it. And they're just at that beginning part. So
yeah,
I'm not going to harp about the whole process and go, hey, you need it.
Right.
It's not my place. You've got people putting out money and trying to get a league going that'll sustain.
Yeah.
So however these are, I am positive these are all people smarter than Krusty.
But yeah, like I said, guys, we're recording this prior to the draft. The draft is Thursday, or not Thursday, sorry. The draft is Wednesday, tomorrow. We weren't able to, been too much of a time crunch to start recording the episode post the draft. And I actually wanted to come in with research for you all post PW draft. So we'll talk about the results for that draft next week. But we are going to kick it to a quick ad break and then jump over to the other draft that's in a couple of weeks. It all comes down to this, a best-of-7 battle, and DraftKings has you covered every step of the way. The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. Sweat every shift of the series all in one place with one app. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code THPN, spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code THPN in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Bet with DK Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, bet text pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Ontario. Event contract trading with DraftKings predictions involves risk of loss. Sportsbook bonus bets expire in 7 days. $50 in predictions dollars issued weekly for 3 weeks expire in 1 year. Redeem one non-withdrawable reward. Availability varies. Predictions offer void in New York. Ends June 28. Terms at dkng.co/audio.
All right, guys, we're a couple of weeks out from the NHL draft, and we've had some time to read some things on elite prospects and the hockey writers. I will admit, I've actually read other things beyond the elite prospects, and we have our notes, friends.
Oh, I've got notes.
So, Christy,
I could go 2 hours. Yes?
And we will not go 2 hours. Probably in a couple of weeks, that whole draft weekend, we're going to be so hockeyed out by the end of it. But, Christy, figure we can go with the Blackhawk picks for this week.
Okay.
So, folks, to our new listeners, usually we do kind of 2 weeks of speculations for the draft. Usually 1 week we will do Blackhawk picks in particular, or at least I want to say first, second, and third rounds, or a little bit lower if there's somebody that stands out to us. And then another week we kind of mock run through the entire first round just for fun. So we'll talk Blackhawk picks specifically this week. So we've been talking about a little bit on or off the past couple of weeks since the lottery happened, but we have the number 4 pick. And I've got 4 guys listed as potentials. Shocker. So I've got Ivar Stenberg, Kalen Malhotra, Chase Reed, and Carson Krause. Christy, do you have any other names before I get into details?
There are no other names.
Crazy things can happen.
No, there are no other names.
Crazy things could happen. We could get what I want.
No.
The Chicago Blackhawks trade the number 4 pick to the New Jersey Devils for pick number 12 and Simone Nemec, who already wants to trade out of Jersey. But no, guys, we've got 4 names: Stenberg, Malhotra, Reed, and Krause. A little bit of info about each of them, starting off with Stenberg. We talked about him basically since World Juniors. Plays in the Swedish league right now, about 5'11", a winger. Played in the SHL with Frendell this past year. He got 33 points in 43 games, which I know we usually say during the year, the points are going to look different for European and other professional leagues compared to the CHL or college. But gosh darn it, that's still pretty impressive for a kid at the professional level. Best, a Lucas Raymond. Worst, a Ricard Raquel. Massive offensive threat. More of a playmaker. The only thing that concerns me, and I really hope that I'm proven wrong, is in all the notes, it's great offensive guy, doesn't shoot the puck. That's the only note that makes me a little nervous, because we've got a lot of guys right now at the NHL level that can move the puck, can set up the play, but don't put the puck in the net. We're a little afraid of getting that rubber off the tape. So that's really the only concern. And the other one that I've brought up is not even really a Stenberg concern. It's more of a Blackhawk concern, where Stenberg has stated that he is not going back to Sweden. So he will be here. And I am concerned about organically growing Stenberg and the development track that he would be on, because all I've seen is the best guy to develop hockey players is Marcus Kruger.
Well, let's not get carried away.
I'm getting carried away.
If they are fortunate enough that he is there at 4,
you take him.
You take him number 1.
You take him and you say, and you mail a thank you card to San Jose and Vancouver.
But, my only thing is he'll be another one that basically is, for the most part, guaranteed an NHL job.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of NHL jobs guaranteed. We're a team that's come out and told somebody who's never played in the NHL that he will be playing on the top line. Who does that? What happened to, let's earn it and prove it? I don't quite understand it, but hey, whatever. No, that's the hope for number 4, is that he's there. So, we want a little bit more size. Everything that I've read with this guy, I could care less. That's a hockey player. Worry about the size later. He can play in the shit too, so it's just nothing to worry about. Players like that will shoot when they need to, and I've seen Frondell's wicked one-timer enough that I got no problem just passing the puck to him. So
yes,
I think they'll be okay. It's just, it's going to be fingers crossed.
Speaking of size, because apparently Krusty's not concerned by it, but I'm always concerned about size. We've got Caleb Malhotra, 6'1" centerman, written similar to Suzuki, but Suzuki with size. Defensive skill. He's a big centerman, guys. He's a big centerman projected to go in the top 5. It's got to make you excited. It makes me excited. The only thing is Vancouver may snipe him, because Caleb Malhotra's dad, Manny Malhotra, is the new head coach for the Vancouver Canucks, even though Manny Malhotra has come out and said, we probably won't take Caleb. It would be very weird to coach my kid. But you never know. And he's a big centerman. Enough said. I'm really excited. Big centerman, defensive skill, and size. Guys, did I say that he has size? I'm very excited. I've watched some really small guys and being told that we'll get size later. Kyle, we're in year 4. When am I getting size? So I'd like to get some size with Caleb Malhotra.
Yeah, again, if he's there, I keep on flip-flopping on him. I don't know if he's overvalued.
He's a big centerman.
Either way, he
doesn't have back problems.
He's a big centerman with no back problems. He fills a niche, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So, again,
not only from the size level, but
a center.
He's a center. He is as of right now, a center. Not a winger playing a centerman. Not a winger doing centerman position because we're low on centers at the top 6 talent level. A centerman. He is a
correct
centerman, which would be great.
Yes. Okay.
Next one I've got is Chase Reed, coming out of the OHL, 6'2", right-handed defenseman, 45 games and 48 points. He's projected to go to Michigan State next year, along with our favorite football player, Mason West. A very late soarer in the draft. I think was definitely projected to go first round throughout this kind of year, but has definitely soared as of late. Very well-rounded defenseman. Everything that I've read is that he is probably the most well-rounded in terms of his skill set compared to other defensemen that are ranked high, like your Carrells, your Keaton Verhoff, and he's kind of, I've seen anywhere between 2 to 5.
Oh yeah, they went to Michigan. They took him out to dinner. He's got that shot. He's got that shot from the point, which maybe we're lacking. Also, everybody is high on this kid, though. We come from a place going, oh my God, another defenseman? Are we turning into Minnesota where we just draft defensemen? If he's the one they're at 4, you're going to need to pick him. He's got a heck of a shot and he can do everything. And the sky's the limit from what I've heard. So, again, if the 2 forwards are gone, then that's who you're going to get. The next guy you're going to talk about there is talk about him. He's more of a shutdown guy, but can do everything also. He's a little bit more of a thumper, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So you got Carson Carrells coming out of the WHL with 73 points in 58 games played. 6'1" left-handed defenseman. Is set to go to University of North Dakota next year. Like Krusty said, very much more of a shutdown, a thumper. I love this pick just because, I've been screaming another defenseman seriously, but it's another defenseman that we don't have. We have a lot of our higher pick defensemen have been very much, well, they're this great offensive threat. Look at them carry they can run the number one power play. There is not really a shutdown guy in terms of the younger kids that are coming up as far as D-men. So I'm more than okay with going with Corrales if we are picking a defenseman, just because it's another defenseman, but it's a type of player that we don't have. And I'm all for, let's move past drafting the best player available and let's draft the right player that we need in this moment for this rebuild. And I think going more of a shutdown guy is what we need, because can some of these players do it? Yes. But also, as a reminder, guys, we don't have Connor Murphy coming in October. There is not a shutdown guy to throw in the penalty kill that we're confident in, be it at the already ready NHL level or in the pipeline. So getting somebody that is less of an offensive flashy guy and more of a serving a purpose that we're missing, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, you are not the only one. I've talked to other people, and they're saying that would be my guy. Again, I don't see how you would pass on Reed. I just don't. It's too enticing. Everything that I'm hearing is in 2 years he's going to be the shit. But I've heard that a lot. So
I'm pretty sure I've heard that about the past 3 right-handed offensive defensemen that we've drafted.
Yeah.
With the exception of Artie, because I've just heard that Artie's raw, Artie's a project, give him more, he needs more structure than some of the other defensemen. I think Reed's got the ooh, the ah, the flashy. I'm overdrafting the flashy.
Yeah, but he's a goal scorer, which adds a layer that neither Cord nor Artie was coming out of the draft. You said goal scorer. You said maybe a puck mover, a power play quarterback, but this is a guy who can score from the half wall, can score from the point. That's what makes him so much more enticing. They really don't have that. And to get back to your Murphy thing, they're going to have to bring in somebody. Somebody has to log minutes. You can't go to bat with all these young kids.
So guys,
that is
what's going to happen.
Their players.
We're going to do exactly that come October.
I hope not, because that's too tall of an ask. You're putting
a lot on the pickle.
You put players in positions to succeed, not to fail, and you don't put them in positions to fail and going they'll grow. It's just, for me, it's a tall ask. But all right, let's move on.
Moving on to our next one, which we don't pick until about the mid-30s, but we have a couple back-to-back. Christy, would you like to go through a couple of your favorites since I went over the number 4?
Well, I got a lot of stuff here.
Me too, and I don't know if you did this too, but I kind of just grouped a larger group together. I don't have a set, these are the guys that will be there at 34, these are the guys that will be there at 37. I just have, these are the guys that could be there mid to late 30s.
Yeah, that's what I've got. So basically for that 34th, I'm hoping the Pug's there. Everything I'm hearing now is the Pug won't be there.
Yeah.
But the Pug is who I want. I want to trade up to get the Pug. The Pug is everything I want. The Pug will spend another 2 years in the KHL. And then by year 3, will be ready to come over. And he is a wrecking machine. He's a 6'3" wrecking machine. He would be a young, big shit kicker for your third and fourth line ready. So that's the guy I want. I don't think he'll be there. There is Mertrin, a centerman, who might be there at 34. he's one of them. The other one, it's talk of the Blyle kid, who's the guy on Montreal, the defenseman.
Hudson?
Yes. He is a Hudson clone. He is that new group of that 5'10" defenseman that can do everything, that all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, maybe we should be drafting this guy a little higher, because the other ones seem to have worked out pretty well. I've been looking at mocks, unsure if he will be there. If he's there, that is a lock. That is, at 34, you're swinging for the fences, and that's the guy I want to swing for. I also have Shvergabov, Bakov,
Oh my God.
who's also a defenseman.
Guys, this is the one downside of doing draft stuff with Krusty.
Yes.
He tried really hard. He just can't pronounce things.
I cannot pronounce things. It's a real struggle for me, and I'm trying to get my stuff all geared up. And then I have the Cover kid also.
I am very high on Jackson Cover. While Krusty is figuring out the elite prospect stuff, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jackson Cover, because reading his information, I am very intrigued. So Jackson Cover is a 6'1" winger who only started playing hockey on ice about 5 years ago. He was playing rollerblade hockey, was a huge part of the London Knights' success as of late, which is one of the top teams in the OHL, has about 52 points in 67 games. He's a bit more of a raw project compared to other players, which just means, a little bit more time than others. This would definitely be more of a swinging for the fences type of pick. He is set to go to Penn State University, not this upcoming season, but the season following. As of right now, who knows? We all saw Jack Pridham. That can change. But figuring he will go back to London at the start of next year and then is set to go to college. Yeah, he is definitely one. A bit of a late sort as well in terms of going up the draft rankings. But I'm always intrigued by guys that come into the game late and then, start to soar. Also, I think I'm a big fan of, athletes playing other sports, getting into the game of hockey a non-conventional way, because I think that just makes you a better athlete.
Oh, most definitely. And yeah, the reading up on him, he seems like he'll be there.
Yeah.
And so with that, he's definitely a guy who was on my radar, and I'm trying to find my other guy. Do you have anything on the Shvergabov?
I have no idea who you're talking about, so I'm just going to go over a couple of my guys.
Okay, go over a couple of your guys while I try to figure the rest of this out.
Trying to find. Let's see. So mine, I really don't know if these guys are going to be here, but I definitely lumped 33 and 37 together. But I also think, let's see. But I do have a couple that I'm unsure if they'll still be there. One that I'm unsure if they'll still be there. But if there's anything that I'm, that I will stand on my soapbox for, is that American and Canadian players go above European players. So there's always the potential of European players dropping just because. So if Ilya Morozov is still there, which I don't think that he will be, but he's a 6'3" centerman. Very, very strong defensive game. Plays for the University of Miami, Ohio. Is a bit of a late riser like Nestrasil last year. And kind of similar sort of, stat. He's just a very big guy. Doesn't play the most flashiest of games, but is more of a defensive center, which I'm also a big fan of, because again, I really would like to see us draft purposefully for positions and type of players that we're missing. Let's see.
Okay, I've got the rust on my guy.
Yeah.
We're just going to call him Nika. Nikita. Nikita. Okay, thank you, everybody. That is a Russian defenseman, 6'3", left-handed defenseman. Somebody who can kill plays. Unbelievably mobile, especially out of his quick steps. His first and second stride are supposed to be top-notch. He's a physical player that can skate really well. He's got everything that you want in a defenseman. Again, another guy that you would let ferment in the KHL for a little while. Definitely would be another lockdown defenseman.
Yeah.
Which, as Hockey Princess has already gone over, we're kind of in need with that. The other guy that there's been a lot of talk about, who I don't know if will be there. Of course, we've talked about Oliver before.
Oliver Savato, please come on down. You will be a Chicago Blackhawk. I will trade. This is a Jason Robertson situation. I will just trade. Give me that pick, Kyle. We have 3 first-round picks next year. We don't need all of them. Make something happen.
So the other guy is Brooks Rogowski.
Oh, yeah, I saw him.
Who's a 6'7" centerman. Everything that I'm hearing is he's going up the boards. There's a possibility maybe he slips a little bit. If that's the case, at 34 or 37, that's somebody else that you would be looking at.
Yeah.
Again, anybody that we're getting at that point in time, you're talking about fermenting for a couple of years. So, and that's all I have on those first 2 picks.
I do want to throw out, because we've talked about Oliver Suvanto the past couple of weeks, so I just wanted to throw out a bit of just info, if you don't mind, Krusty.
I don't.
So Suvanto, you're looking at a 6'3" centerman with a very physical game, a true power forward, very mature for his age, and one of the younger kids in his draft class as well. And because I took a look at the hockey writers, because as we talked a couple of weeks ago, it's elite prospects and the hockey writers are, kind of the big
draft centrals.
Yeah. They're draft central. And Oliver Suvanto is ranked number 5 as most NHL ready. Which, gosh, if that doesn't make you excited, because you know who was rated number 4?
Who?
McKenna. Another one that I wanted to throw out there, another Finn, because I am biased.
You are.
Juho Piparinen. Sorry, guys, unlike Chris, I will try to pronounce names. He is I had it.
You had it? You lost it?
I lost it.
Oh, jeez.
I know. He's a 6'2" right-handed defenseman. Great second half of the season. Well-rounded defenseman. Offensive guy originally that has kind of morphed into having a bit more of a stronger defensive game. Very high motor. Is definitely ranked higher than he's kind of ranked a little bit all over the boards. I've seen him between 17 and 40. One of the biggest things against him, and it really doesn't bother me whatsoever, as we've covered even on this week's show, is that the big thing against him is he is not flashy, but he just gets the job done. He's a puck-moving defenseman. He's a great two-way defenseman, but he doesn't give you the ooh and ah. And sometimes we see players, no matter how good they are, if they don't give the ooh and the ah of the flashiness, they drop a little bit, even if they are, talented. So that's another one that, if he does fall, we are unable to draft Oliver Suvanto, I'm a firm believer that, gosh darn it, every team needs a Finn.
Okay. And then for the 45th,
Yeah.
or maybe, the 37th, I've also got another defenseman, a left-handed defenseman, which would be Alexander Bilicki, who's basically played for Kitchener. He was on like their bottom pairing. Kitchener was a loaded team, but I've gotten rave reviews on both sites about that this guy will for sure break out next year in Kitchener. Just a shutdown guy with explosive skating, meaning he can definitely move up in the lineup if need be, and you don't lose too much. So, and to be honest, there's a group of centermen. You've got Jack Hextall. You've got a bunch in that like 34 to 45 range that, it might be hit or miss, but there's going to be some bigger centermen available also, which might be a way that they go.
And speaking of very large centermen, I've got another one that could potentially be around the 45 pick. And that is your Rudolphs Burzkons. Started with the Muskegon Lumberjacks in the USHL and then jumped to Boston College, or is set to go to Boston College next year. Is a 6'4" centerman, highly physical defensive guy. This is like a string of all my favorite words in one descriptor of a prospect. It's fantastic. Projected bottom six, but as we talked about, not only with the draft but throughout the year, labeling a guy as a bottom six player does not mean that they will exclusively play on the third and fourth line. We always say, where's our Brian Bickle for the top line? I think a guy that can play a good defensive game, is very physical, can easily be a bottom six guy that plays on the top six with some of the smaller, faster, more offensively skilled kids.
Yes, he's on my board too. I've got him on the 66th pick, which is you are probably correct. You would have to get him at probably 45. Another guy I would not have a problem with. Another like ideal third line centerman. Yeah. Which we're going to need.
Yes.
And, once everybody starts getting paid, you're going to need these kids to come in a little younger and a little cheaper to be able to play with your Frondels and your Beacon of Hope. So yeah, I'm also high on him. So
yeah. Another one that I wanted to throw out, and I believe this is the last guy that I have on lists, is, guys, I'm really sorry. I'm going to try with this last name, but it's really, really long. This is one guy that maybe at 66, but I just kept going back to his page and reading more about not just his stats, but just he intrigues me. And that is your Simas Ignatov.
Yeah.
Is 6'3" winger playing in the National League and the SL League, which I believe is just slightly under the National League. Huge size, high motor, contract just has one more year with the National League. This is one where it's maybe you could bring over to even the Rockford level, even earlier, kind of like Frondell coming over, but instead of Frondell coming over to Chicago, you bring him over to Rockford as soon as possible. All the notes that I've seen is, he's got a very strong physical presence with his size, and that he may be struggling at the National League on that stage because the European play a very, very different game than you see at the North American, with the CHL in college and even at the AHL. It's a lot more physical. It's a lot tougher in just terms of the physicality aspect, and that really seems to be where he shines, is the physicality aspect, and suffers in other areas of his game that are kind of what the European game is built around. So he's just one that I'm this is definitely a swing for the fences, but like I said, I kept going back to his page and I'm very intrigued about him.
I'm with you on that one too. I think he might be there at 45. Could you take him at 37? Sure.
Yeah.
He's a net front guy.
Yeah.
He's a physical guy, which we are going to need.
And I don't know what
takes off. Hurt's going to be gone.
Right.
You need pieces to play specific roles, and there's a group of them in that middle that, I think I wouldn't have a problem with them taking him either.
Well, and I don't know if I am just, it makes me curious with the Panarin of it all, but I'm very intrigued by kids that are in the KHL or in the National League, or, not coming out of Brantford, not coming out of a Michigan college hockey team, nothing against them, but other leagues, and kind of are just passed over by everyone, and then they come over and it's nothing but wow. I don't know. It's something.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, I'm going along the same lines of you. As I'm starting to look now for pieces.
Yeah.
And especially to fill out that bottom six and be more physical and be more of a net front presence. Could that be Vanacker? Sure. I don't know, but I don't think you can have enough of them. And I don't have a problem now where we're at with everything, letting somebody ferment in the cave for 2 years.
I also don't could Vanacker do it? Yes. But I also don't think that there's one correct way to be a net front presence too. Could Vanacker do it? Sure. Could Rudolphs do it? Sure. There's no one correct way. And I think there's no one correct way even on a singular team to do it.
Correct. And we're at the beginning point. And for right now, it's about trying to get as many as possible. As I said, for me, for that second round and everything, I'm looking in 3 years.
Yeah.
That I can have somebody that I can lace up in the NHL and can play heavy minutes. Because if we're not playing heavy minutes and we're not sniffing playoffs or in playoffs in 3 years, all bets are off on everything.
Absolutely.
So my mindset has to be that that's where we're going to be. And I need people that I can plug in to play heavy minutes. And again, he's another one that everything that I've read comes off as somebody who can play the heavy minutes.
Absolutely.
And just sit there in front if need be. If you've watched the playoffs, that's what everybody's bottom six does.
Yeah.
Okay. So you sit there and you pass the puck around a little bit. You let Reed shoot from there and you have this big guy in front of the net. That works for me. So
yeah.
It's the fun part of the draft is you just don't know.
We know nothing.
Everybody looks so enticing and their write-ups are so enticing.
We know nothing. And also, if Brandon Bussey has taught us anything, is that the draft really kind of doesn't matter because you can go undrafted and then win a Stanley Cup.
Well, sure. I'm trying to think if Chatfield was drafted or not. I don't believe he was. That's a defenseman for the Canes. So, I think goaltenders are just different because they come in, they come out. Bussey could come in and then turn to garbage next year. I don't know.
We don't know. Chrissy,
but we want the pug.
That was all the guys that I had. Did you have any other guys that you wanted to bring up this week?
I've got a couple at 66 or 119. I figure we're already at 1 hour 10. So I can throw off your later round swing for the fences, maybe the next show, or we can talk about it during draft day or something. I don't know.
We have all the time. Before we wrap up, though, I did want to take a minute with the news that came out earlier today with the passing of Kyle Calder. For those who don't know, he was a former Chicago Blackhawk. My first captain when I got into hockey was Kyle Calder, that ABC line, my first number 19. He will be very missed. I loved Kyle Calder. I know you did.
Yes. Kyle Calder was just that ABC line, unfortunately, was the top line in Chicago, and it was a group of really good third liners.
Yeah.
So it's hard to win but they tried. Even Arneson, as much as he got railroaded occasionally, they all tried their best, him and Bell. And yeah, from what I heard, it was a sudden illness and things went south. That's all I know. And so I know his daughter put out some real nice thing on the Instagram, which I don't have, but
yeah,
it just saddens you. That's a 45-year-old. That is way too young.
Absolutely.
Very sad.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I just wanted to,
And also your sister's favorite player from back in those days, just because, she high-fived him and knocked his glove off as they were coming out for warm-ups, and they had a nice little funny exchange. Life stinks when it turns in bad ways.
Absolutely. And those early 2000s dark days were not the greatest, but man, do I hold those really that entire roster. I know I yap about Tomorutu at least every other week, but that entire roster that was around for the early 2000s has a very special place in my heart, just because they were on the ice when I got into hockey prior to the dynasty. It was rough watching sometimes, but that was my team.
But they gave effort.
Absolutely.
That was the beauty part. They gave effort. They just weren't as skilled as everybody else, but they laid it on the line all the time. So
absolutely. All right, folks, that is going to be all for this week. Like I said, next week we'll cover PW draft results as well as more of the NHL draft leading up to the NHL draft. Just as a reminder, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube.
Leave us a review.
Or listen to us. Yes, leave us a review. Roast Krusty. That is all. And we will talk to you guys next week.